It is. I believe I heard you. If you all are ready, we can go ahead and get started.
Yes, Your Honor. Bring them out now, sir.
Your Honor,
Yes.
we have one in medical. We had one in medical. Blood sugar had dropped, so she's being seen by the nurse right now.
Okay. When we get to that person, if I call that name, if you'll just remind me, and what we'll do is we'll just continue that person. I've got it also tomorrow, and we'll see how they feel tomorrow, see if that works.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we're ready. All right.
Yes,
Can
Your
everyone?
Honor.
All right. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your first appearance before the Magistrate Court here in Clayton County. My name is Associate Judge Marcus Thorpe. I want to go over a couple of things for you here this morning before we begin, just so we know in terms of order. We're going to do the women first and then the men. And I believe that there are two people who have extradition issues that we will do last. So again, understand this is your first appearance, so your first court date since you've been arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not here to try your case. What that means is if you have questions, of course, I will try my best to answer those questions, but please, these are recorded. There are witnesses to statements that you make. And so the last thing you want to do is make any sort of statement that may go to the heart of your case. So if it is not in regards to your bond, in regards to getting out in some way, please do not make a statement or ask me a question about that. You are here for the court to inform you of the charges against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set your bond of those offenses for which this court is authorized to set bail, and also to schedule a prelim and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. You have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you if this case goes to trial. During this and all other proceedings, you have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves you guilt beyond reasonable doubt, the right to an indictment by the grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, the right to a speedy and public trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses who are called to testify against you, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena, the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense, should you choose to do so. But should you choose not to, no presumption of your guilt may be raised. And then finally, you have the right to an attorney to be present. At this point, during these proceedings today, if you so choose, we can appoint one to help you down the line. Now, some of you will be allowed to post what are called unrestricted bonds for your release from jail pending prosecution of this case, which may be by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash together with any fees to the sheriff's office, who will hold it until your final court date, at which time that bond will be returned to the person who posted it. If you use a bonding company, typically those bonding companies, which have to be approved by the sheriff, you have to pay a percentage of your bond to the bonding company, and then they will put up the rest. Now, what is that percentage? Typically, it ranges for most companies anywhere from about 10 to 20%. We usually say about 15 as their fee for service. This fee, ladies and gentlemen, will not be returned. Now, someone may post a bond using a third method, which is to use their property. If they have the net equity in their property in an amount equal to 3 times the total amount of the bond. So as an example, if your bond were $10,000 and you wanted somebody to post their house, they would have to have equity in their house of at least $30,000 to put their house up for you. Some of you, ladies and gentlemen, will also have special conditions as a part of your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on a separate form. You will also be prohibited from calling or having other contact with certain people while you are in jail. Should you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you will not be entitled to another bond while awaiting trial. An additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing witness, or other charge, as the law may provide, could be brought against you, for which you could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison and fined up to $20,000. Now, for those family members who will assist you in posting bond, they will be provided information about your bond amount after we have concluded the first appearance calendar. If a family member is a victim on the warrant and there is a special condition that you are to have no contact with that family member, he or she will not be allowed to post the bond. Some of you, ladies and gentlemen, are also charged with offenses which this court is not authorized to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a Superior Court judge, and you will be informed of that date here today. If any of you are actively on probation, this court is not also authorized to set a bond. Your bond can be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to determine if they wish to file a warrant for violation of your probation, usually during the prelims. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine if there is enough evidence or probable cause to justify keeping you detained till such time as your case goes to trial. For those of you charged with misdemeanor, you will have the option today of waiving your preliminary hearing. If you want to waive your hearing, it will not affect your right to post bond, your right to have an attorney, or to represent yourself if you qualify, if you would like to, or if you would like the court-appointed attorney if you qualify for one. This goes for both misdemeanors and felony charges. If you post bond, any preliminary hearing that you are entitled to is automatically waived, and you will be mailed a notice when and where to appear here in the State Court of Clayton County for arraignment. If you cannot make bond, you may waive your preliminary hearing if it's a misdemeanor and be taken before a state court judge, at which time if you plead guilty, you will be sentenced. If you plead not guilty, a trial will be scheduled. Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, what that means is for those of you charged with felonies, you will immediately be given a preliminary hearing date today. I will tell you that date. However, if you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have an option. You can either go forward and I will assign you a preliminary hearing date. And if you don't make bond, then you will come up on that hearing date. If you choose, you can also waive that hearing date. And if you choose to do that, then what that means is your case will go directly to state court, moves a little faster, and you'll likely get a court date a little quicker than you otherwise would. Now, what I would like for everyone to do, if you would, is to please raise your hand, your right hand. Now, do you all promise or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God? And if you do, please all say, I do. Can you all hear me? Say, I do. All right. I see lips moving, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it.
Is it muted?
Yeah, it's on. It's not muted.
Okay.
It's on now.
I saw some lips moving there, so I think we're okay, Debbie. All right, so if we could have the ladies up first, please. And I've got is this Miss Tahiria Olympia Johnson? Taria? Okay. Miss Taria, you are charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond has been set at $2,000. You do have bond conditions, ma'am, and you are to stay away from the individual that you were involved in this argument. Do you live at that address as well, ma'am?
The 800 one or the one that was?
The 11015 Terra Boulevard. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Yes, the 800 where the incident happened.
It didn't happen at the 800 one because that's where I physically live.
Okay. So you don't. So you live at the 800, not 11015 Terra Boulevard.
Right.
Okay.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So then this shouldn't be a problem then. So what only thing I'm gonna ask of you is that you stay away from that address, 11015 Terra Boulevard in Hampton, Georgia. If you have any items there, that you must get the authority of the sheriff to assist you in going to get any items there, and that you also are not to violate bond if you do make bond. Okay. Do you understand that, ma'am? Okay, now I've told you that your bond amount is $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Do you want the court to appoint your attorney, or do you believe you're going to hire your own?
The court appointed.
Okay. So give me one moment. Let me just take a look here.
Your Honor, you went out. You went out.
I'm sorry. You hear me, Ms. Johnson, now? Okay, so you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So whether or not you make bond before your next court date, you will hear from the public defender's office here, which is run by Lister and Holt for your particular type of a charge to discuss your case with you, okay? Okay, and then now, finally, you have the option to either waive your preliminary hearing or to go forward with the preliminary hearing. What would you like to do, ma'am?
Waive it.
Okay. All right. So your court date, all right. So ma'am, your hearing is waived, and again, you will get in the mail, as I said earlier, what the next court date will be. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. I believe next we should have, is it Piper or Piper Jordan? How are you, Ms.
Yes, Piper.
How are you, Ms. Jordan?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Now, Ms. Jordan, you are charged with 1 count of red light violation and 1 count of driving with a suspended license. Your bond is in the total amount of $2,000, ma'am. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Now, do you want to hire your own attorney or a court-appointed attorney?
Court.
Court-appointed?
Yeah.
All right, give me one moment, Ms. Jordan. Oh, Ms. Jordan, I'm looking at the application you filled out, and it says, what? Okay, you do have a job and you're earning about $10 an hour?
Right.
Okay, and you do have some savings, is that correct?
Right.
Ms. Jordan, I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney. As far as your preliminary hearing, do you want to waive your hearing or for me to set that preliminary hearing court date?
You can set it.
Okay, so your preliminary hearing court date, ma'am, is going to be January 17th. That'll be the next day that you have court if you do not make bond, okay?
Okay.
All right, ma'am, do you have any questions?
No.
All right, Ms. Jordan, thank you. You have a good day.
All right.
And are you Miss McKnight?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, Miss McKnight.
Morning.
Ms. McKnight, I have you charged with 1 count of false statements, and your bond is in the amount of $2,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Do you want the court to consider you for a court-appointed attorney, or are you going to hire your own?
Court appointed.
Okay. How much do you make per week, ma'am, or bi-weekly? Excuse me.
1,300.
Do you have any children?
No.
All right, Ms. McKnight, the court's going to appoint you a court-appointed attorney. And then as far as your preliminary hearing, how would you like to go forward on that? Did you want to waive your hearing, or do you want the court to set you a court date for that?
Setting a court date.
Okay. So your particular charge is false statements. So the court's going to set your date. Your next court date is going to be January 17th of 2023, okay? All right, any questions from you, Ms. McKnight?
Oh, sir.
All right, thank you, and you have a good day, ma'am. Up next, I believe I have Miss Jenny Marie Walker. Are you Miss Jenny Walker?
No, Your Honor, that's the one that's in medical. She'll be
okay.
coming over.
Okay.
She'll be coming over.
All right. Are you Miss Webb? Is that correct? Okay. Let's see. All right, Miss Webb, I have you charged with one speeding violation and possession of more than 1 ounce of marijuana. Your total bond amount is $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am? And do you want the court to appoint you an attorney, or do you want to hire your own?
Court.
Okay. And I apologize, ma'am. It's possession of less than 1 ounce. So it's 2 misdemeanors.
Okay.
I totally apologize. So now, again, because these are 2 misdemeanors, you have the option of either waiving your hearing, your preliminary hearing, or my setting a court date for you in January. Would you like to waive that hearing, or would you like me to set that hearing for you?
Set it for me.
Okay. So your next court date, ma'am, is going to be January 17th of 2023. Okay. All right. Any questions for you, Ms. Williams?
Well, no,
excuse me, Ms. Webb. I apologize. Any questions, Ms. Webb? All right. Thank you, ma'am. I believe next we have Ms. Tierney Deshae Williams.
She's the one that was in medical. You sworn him in.
Okay, so are we done with all of the?
She's here right now. She's back.
Miss Walker is back, Your Honor.
Okay, but do we have Ms. Williams?
Yes, we have Miss Williams.
Okay.
But Miss Walker just.
Okay, so if you've got Miss Williams right there, let's go ahead and do Miss Williams, and then we'll circle back to Miss Walker.
Yes, sir.
She is, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am. Are you Miss Tierney Deshae Williams?
Sir.
Okay. Ma'am, you are charged with 1 count of simple assault and 1 count of criminal trespass. Your bond is in the total amount of $7,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am? Is that yes? Okay. Now, you also have bond conditions as a part of your bond. I believe there's an allegation that you're involved in an argument with the Miss Asia Donahue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to require that as a part of your bond that you stay away from Miss Donahue. Okay. And if you have any items that have occurred, Miss Williams, at the address of 304 Black Hawk Trail, do you live there, ma'am?
Yes, I live there, but Miss Donahue don't.
Okay. So right now, I'm going to go ahead, just because I don't have all that information in front of me other than your word, and require that you stay away from that address, 304 Black Hawk Trail. However, whether you hire your own attorney or the court appoints you an attorney, please speak to them about getting that modified, and they'll be able to do so that you'll be able to return to that address. Until such time that you are able to return to that address, Ms. Williams, if you have any items there that you need to retrieve until your bond is modified, please contact the sheriff's office and they will assist you in going over there, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, as far as an attorney, ma'am, do you believe you're going to be able to hire an attorney, or do you want a court-appointed attorney?
Court-appointed.
Okay, so I see you didn't get a chance to fill this out, so we're gonna do a couple things here. Do you have a job, ma'am?
No, no, sir.
Do you have any money in savings?
No, sir.
So the court's gonna go ahead and appoint you an attorney, ma'am. Did you hear at the beginning when we talked about your preliminary hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so because you are charged with 2 misdemeanors, you have the right, Ms. Williams, to either waive your hearing or to set your preliminary hearing. Which would you prefer?
Waive it.
Okay. All right, so as I said, Ms. Williams, what's gonna happen then is because you're waiving your preliminary hearing, then when you actually do, if you make bond, you'll get your next court date in the mail, at which time they'll tell you when and where you need to report. If you don't make bond, of course, you'll have conversations with your attorney and they'll advise you when and where your next court date is, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, do you have any questions, Ms. Williams?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, and you have a good day. Okay, and I believe the last one should be Ms. Walker.
Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second, Ms. Walker. Okay, are you Miss Jenny Marie Walker?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Walker, you are charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended license, 1 count of knowingly driving with a suspended registration, and then finally, no insurance. Your total bond amount is $3,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to hire your own attorney or a court-appointed attorney?
A court appointed?
Okay, so you look confused. I want to make sure you understand. So in any criminal offense, whether it's traffic, whether it's any sort of violation of the law, you have a right to always hire your own attorney or the court can appoint you one. You filled out a document earlier if you want the court to consider appointing you one. Again, so I'll ask, do you want to hire your own or do you want the court to look at appointing you one?
Appointed one. I have went to the end.
I'm sorry?
I had a question, because without the bond, I can make bond, but my phone is dead and I don't know nobody's number.
Okay, so unfortunately, I cannot help you with respect to that. The best I can tell you is, if you have some method of communication with someone, that's when you'll have to be able to let someone know. Otherwise, you will have a court date, whether it's by preliminary hearing or by your arraignment, at which time you'll be able to speak to someone about your attorney situation, okay? Excuse me, and about your bond situation. Now, because of that, ma'am, I'm gonna go ahead, it's pretty close for you here, but I'm gonna go ahead and appoint an attorney for you since you don't have a method of communication, it appears, so you can at least have a conversation with somebody about your bond, okay? Now, were you here and present when I discussed the preliminary hearing or waiver of that? Okay, so when you are charged with only misdemeanors, you got a couple options. You can go forward with what's called a preliminary hearing. That's where the judge will bring in you, and he'll bring in the police officer, and then they present evidence. It's not a trial, but it's a mini trial. And they present evidence of whether or not there's enough to move forward to trial with your case, okay? Now, you can have that hearing, and that hearing will happen in about 3 to 4 weeks. Or you can waive it. Now, the difference between having that hearing and waiving it, if you waive that hearing, it speeds your case up a little more. And instead of having and waiting on that hearing, you'll actually go to state court where your case will be reviewed. You'll get there a lot quicker and you'll have an opportunity to resolve your case a little bit quicker. So what would you like to do, man? Would you like to waive your preliminary hearing or have it?
I'll waive it.
Okay.
Waive it.
All right, Ms. Walker, so I've recorded that you would like me to waive your preliminary hearing. Do you have any questions about anything, ma'am?
With the bond, can I do it myself or somebody has to do it?
Well, unless you have access to it, ma'am, it's typically done by someone else. They are typically going to require somebody else to do it for you. All right, any other questions, ma'am?
No questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker. All right,
That's all.
good morning. Are you Mr. Beck?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Beck, you're charged with 1 count of simple battery. Mr. Beck, your bond is in the amount of $2,500. You also have special conditions, and that is to stay away from the victim in this matter, Mr. Michael Trice, as well as the address 3749 Laramie Road in Ellenwood. If you've got any items there, Mr. Tyler, please contact the sheriff's office. I'm going to repeat, do not go there on your own. Okay, do you understand that?
So I can be with my family?
Not at this time, sir. Until such time as you either hire your own attorney or that you speak to the court-appointed attorney. They will speak to you about whether you have the ability to modify your bond. Do you understand?
I'm
For
gonna be
right
staying
now,
in jail. Place to live. I just moved with them. I moved with them, all together, and I helped them move everything in that house.
well, sir, at this point, my most important concern for myself is to make sure that there is no further allegations of violence. If the court later on determines that there is no concern about violence, they can modify it at that time. But right now, I'm going to institute an order, which is to stay away from Mr. Trice, that address, 3749 Laramie Road. If you have any items there that you would like to obtain before your bond is altered, please contact the sheriff's office here in Clayton County. And then finally, you must not violate any laws while you are out on bond. Sir, do you believe you'll be able to make this bond of $2,500?
I don't have $2,500.
Okay. Finally, sir, do you believe do you want to hire your own attorney or do you want a court-appointed attorney?
I don't even have any money to do anything, so I need a public defender so I can take this in a rightful way, because I have a child and my wife's pregnant and I have a job, but now because guess what? I don't have a place to live, so
Well, sir,
so
again,
and I gotta
again,
take this to
that's
court
what
all
that's
the
what
way. I have to fight this case because it was an argument.
Mr. Beck, watch your words now, sir. You don't want to say anything, as I mentioned before, that may harm you down the line. So let's hold off on the.
With it, and it wouldn't matter.
Mr. Beck, answer the judge's question.
All right. So, Mr. Beck, what's going to happen now that you have a court-appointed attorney being assigned to you? A court-appointed attorney will reach out to you. You are charged with simple battery. That is a misdemeanor, sir. So you have the opportunity to either waive your preliminary hearing or I can appoint you a court date for your preliminary hearing. Which would you like me to do, sir? Do you understand the difference?
Not really, but I'm going to be stuck in jail, so I guess I'm just going to be fighting the case in jail.
Well, sir, if you choose to waive that hearing, it does somewhat speed the hearing up for you. I can't give you that recommendation, but you could.
I really don't. So I really don't understand all the court stuff. I really don't. It's very hard to me to understand that stuff. I don't know what waiving.
So to protect you, sir, I'm going to go ahead and appoint you the preliminary hearing date. You will get contacted by your court-appointed attorney. And when you are, sir, you all can discuss that in further detail and he can give you an explanation, okay?
I'm just going to lose my job.
So your next court date is going to be January 17th of 2023. Good luck to you, sir. Next, let's have Mr. Dennis. We're going to hold off on Mr. Culver till the end, please. Is this?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Are you Mr. Marcellus Dennis?
Sir.
Okay. Mr. Dennis, you are charged with 1 count of prohibited parking, 1 count of driving with suspended license, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, and theft by receipt of stolen property. Your total bond is in the amount of $20,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want the court to consider you for a court-appointed attorney?
I want them to consider me for a court-appointed attorney.
Okay. Reviewing everything that you provided here, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with felonies, I'll go ahead and set your next court date for you. You're going to have your next preliminary hearing. That's going to be January 16th of 2023, okay?
I do have a bond on the charge, though, correct?
Say that one more time, Mr. Dennis.
Yes, okay, never mind. Officer heard.
Okay, no problem. All right, thank you. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Next, I have Mr. Sean Favors. All right, are you Mr. Favors?
Yes, sir. How you doing today, Judge?
I'm doing well, sir. Mr. Favors, you're charged with one count of improper lane change, one count of driving under the influence of alcohol, and then finally one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act, specifically possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. Your total bond is in the amount of $4,500, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want the court to consider you for a court-appointed attorney, or are you gonna hire your own?
Court appointed, please.
Okay. Now, because you are charged with misdemeanors, like I said before, you have the right to waive your preliminary hearing or go forward with one. How would you like to do? Or what would you like to do? Excuse me.
I do not want to waive it.
All right. So your next court date, sir, is going to be January 17th of 2023. Okay.
Is there a time where I'll be mailed the time?
You'll be advised of that time, sir. If you were to make bond, you'll get it in the mail. If you don't, your court-appointed attorney will advise you what that time is.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Herbert Fleissner.
Yes, Your Honor. This is the one that needs the German interpreter.
Okay, he is. I wasn't sure. So let's hold off on him too, so we can get the language lines at the end.
Yes, Your Honor. We can get an interpreter. We can get an interpreter for German, okay? We'll do it afterwards. Go ahead and go back to this.
Next, I have Mr. Jaheim Harris. Good morning. Are you Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harris, you're charged with one count of battery. Your bond is in the total amount of $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir.
As a part of your bond, sir, you also are to stay away from the alleged victim, Mr. Shaki Schamberger, and also not to violate any laws while you're on bond. Do you understand that, sir? That means no contact at all.
Yes, sir.
Now, finally, do you want the court to consider you for a court-appointed attorney, or are you going to hire your own?
Court consider me one.
Okay. Based on the information you provided, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. Now, as I said earlier, you're charged with misdemeanor, so you have the option to either waive your preliminary hearing, or I can set you that court date. Which would you prefer?
Don't waive.
All right, so the next court date will be January 17, 2023 for your preliminary hearing, okay?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Well, no, sir.
All right, sir. Well, good luck to you.
I appreciate it.
Next up, I have Mr. Maurice Hartnett. And are you Mr. Hartnett?
Yes, sir, Mr. Harness.
Oh, excuse me. Sir, you are charged with one count of simple assault family violence, and one count of simple battery family violence. Your bond is in the total amount of $5,000. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, as a part of your bond, should you make bond at any point, you have special conditions. At this point, that is to stay away from, I believe this is your family, sir, Mario Hartness, as well as your mother, Dolores Hartness. You're also to stay away from that address where this happened at 455 Cedar Court in Riverdale. If that's your residence, sir, until your bond is modified, if it is, and you have items there, you are to contact the sheriff's office and they will escort you there to get any items that belong to you that you are in need. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, again, I don't know whether this happened or not, but this isn't a great look to have been allegedly involved in an incident involving your family. But at this point, again, until such time as that bond is modified, you are to have no contact of any kind. I want to make sure that's clear because I don't want you to violate that bond, okay? All right. Now, finally, you have the option to either hire your own attorney or to have the court appoint you one. Which would you prefer, sir? Okay. Based on what the information you've provided, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So I am going to go ahead and appoint one for you. Now, you are charged here with both misdemeanors. So you have the right to either waive your preliminary hearing or I'll set that preliminary hearing court date for you. Which would you prefer?
If I waive, what happened if I waive it?
So The preliminary hearing is an opportunity for you and your attorney to hear the evidence they have against you, and the judge will determine if there's enough to continue forward with your case. If you waive that hearing, there will be no preliminary hearing, but you'll likely get to court a little bit faster. You'll likely have your arraignment, at which time you can either plead guilty if you want to, or continue forward and fight this case. But either way, your court date will likely be faster. Which would you prefer?
The faster court date. Well,
Okay, so that means you want me to waive your hearing. Is that correct? Is that correct, sir?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna be able to bond out,
You said you're not?
so I'm not gonna be able to bond out. So I might as well just.
I understand, sir. So at this point, sir, I've waived your preliminary hearing. Do you have any questions for me? Now, remember, you don't want to say anything about your case. This is only in reference to bond. Do you have any questions about your bond?
Bond. Not the bond, but can I go home?
All right. Well, and again, I've set your bond, sir. So if you don't have any further questions, I'm gonna move on now. Okay. Good luck to you, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. The next person I have is, I believe this is Mr. Tahilavan Jenkins.
It's Olivion.
Okay. My apologies, sir. You Mr. Jenkins?
Yes, sir. You can call me Ty.
All right. Well, Ty, you are charged with 1 count of battery. Your bond is in the total amount of $3,500, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
All right. You also have a special condition, and that is to stay away from the alleged victim. That's a Miss Natalia Clayton. Do you want the court to consider you for a court appointment, or do you want to hire your own attorney?
Y'all could give me a turn.
Okay. Now I saw here that you said that you have a job. How much do you make per week?
I say 500, 400.
Okay. What type of work do you do?
Work in the kitchen.
Okay. So is it pretty consistent, or does it just depend on when they need you?
I work every week.
All right. Do you have any children?
Yes, I have one son.
And does a child live with you or with his mom, or are you all married and living together?
We was living together at the moment.
Okay. And so you contribute to that household? All right.
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have the right to a preliminary hearing, or you have the right to waive it. Which would you prefer, sir?
I'm not gonna wait.
Okay. So your next court date is going to be January 17th of 2023, okay? Do you have any questions about your bond?
No, sir.
All right, thank you, and good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I believe next I have Mr. Alex Koopman.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Koopman.
Morning.
You are charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond is in the amount of $2,500, and you have a condition, should you make bond, to stay away from Alexis Dennis. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That means no contact of any kind with this individual. Now, Mr. Koopman, do you believe you're going to be able to make bond?
Yes.
Do you want the court to consider an attorney for you, or are you going to hire your own?
Hire my own.
All right, sir, because you are charged with misdemeanor, you have the right to either waive your preliminary hearing or to move forward with one. How would you like to go?
Do not waive it.
All right, so your next court date is going to be January 17th of 2023, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Now, I am from state, so how am I going to deal with that? I'm from out of state, so how am I going to, reappear?
Well, should you make bond, sir, whatever address that you provided to the sheriff's office upon your arrest, that's where your notice will be sent to. If you don't make bond, sir, of course, you'll be in custody until such time as your January 17th day. But I'm giving you that date. If you make bond, remember that preliminary hearing date's going to be waived, okay? And so your next court date, whenever that is, whether that's January or beyond in 2023, you'll get that notice to the last known address that they have on file, okay?
I guess I'm just asking, is it going to be then still over the Zoom? Because I'm
More
gonna
than
be able
likely, yes, sir.
down here to a court.
More than likely, your next court date, whether it's a preliminary hearing or not, will be via Zoom.
Okay, so I'll be able to do it from back home. Okay.
All right. All right. Any other questions I can answer for you?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have, I believe this is Jamarvin McDowell. Good morning, sir. Are you Mr. McDowell? Mr. McDowell, you're charged with 1 count of theft by taking. And your bond amount is $3,500. You also have a special bond condition. That's to stay away from this address, 5884 Frontage Road in Forest Park, Georgia. I believe that's where you were working at the time.
No, yes, sir.
Okay. So here moving forward, until such time as that bond is modified, you have to stay away from that address. As far as your bond, excuse me, as far as your, as far as your bond, do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as far as an attorney, would you like the court to consider you for an attorney, or you're gonna hire your own?
I'll give me one, John.
Okay. So you make about $1,000, is that a month, is that correct?
Like 1050, man.
About $10.50 a month? Okay, so you do qualify, sir, for court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, you have the right to waive your preliminary hearing or to go forward with it, like I've been discussing with some of the other ladies and gentlemen. What would you like to do, sir? Would you like to waive that hearing or for me to set you a hearing?
I'll waive, John.
All right. So what's going to happen then, if you make bond, the next court date will be sent to your last known address. If you don't make bond, of course, you will get
The one that
whatever address you gave the sheriff's office upon your arrest.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. All right, sir. That's all I have for you. Thank you. Unless you have any questions for me. All right. Thank you, sir. You too. All right. Next, I have Mr. Bobby Nunn.
Yes, sir, that's me, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm hanging in there for old soldiers, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to make this quick for you, Mr. Nunn. You're charged with 1 count of simple assault, family violence, and 1 count of terroristic threat. Do you understand that,
Yes,
sir?
sir. Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Now, your bond is going to be, well, actually, yeah. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, Mr. Nunn. Let me look at one thing on yours.
Okay.
Give me 1 second here. I got to find something on
Yes,
you.
sir.
Stand on that. She can see you, so she can see you. Against the window, so she can see you. Oh, all right.
Okay. So, Mr. Nunn, so you're charged with 1 count of terroristic threat and 1 count of simple assault. That simple assault is a misdemeanor, but that terroristic threat is a felony. Now, because of that, your bond amount is going to be $7,500, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
I don't really know. So, Your Honor, would I be able to, do you do signature bonds?
No, sir.
You don't? Okay, so I'll be able to make bond.
All right. Now, you also have special conditions as a part of your bond, and that's to stay away from this alleged victim, Twain Henley, and to also stay away from this address, 285 Tudor Court in Jonesboro, Georgia. Do you live at that address?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
until such time as you have an opportunity to modify your bond, and that's granted by a later judge and later court date, again, you're to stay away from that address. But if there are items there that you have that you need to get as a part of, wherever you decide to stay, please contact the Clayton County Sheriff's Office, and they will take someone down there and assist you in getting any items that you need. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, because you are subject to further arrest if you are found to be in that address or talking to this person in any way until such time as this bond is modified, if it is. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as your bond, Mr. Nunn, do you want to, excuse me, as far as court-appointed attorney, do you want a court-appointed attorney or do you want to hire your own, sir?
Court attorney.
Okay.
Court attorney.
And it says that you make about 800 a week?
Yes, sir. That's when the weather is good. I'm in construction.
Okay, so it's kind of off and on?
Yes, sir. When the weather's bad or real cold, we don't do anything.
Okay, so right now, things are probably pretty slow?
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed attorney. Now, because you are charged with one count of felony, you do have a preliminary hearing date that I have to set for you. And that date is going to be, I believe it's the 16th here. Yes, January 16th of 2023, okay?
Okay.
So that's gonna be your next court date. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
No, sir. I appreciate
All right.
it.
All right, Mr. Nunn, good luck to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and is it Philip, and how do I pronounce your last name, sir?
Omelagu.
All right, Mr. Omelagu, how are you this morning?
Morning, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you are charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond amount, sir, is $2,500. And right now, you have bond conditions as well. Now, there is an allegation, I don't want you to respond to this, sir, but there is an allegation that this involved a family member. And so what I'm gonna ask of you, sir, is that until such time as, well, let me ask you this, how old is Carolyn?
She's 50.
50? Okay. So right now, unless and until such time as this bond is modified in any way, you are to stay away from Miss Carolyn Amalagu. You are also to stay away from the address of 11080 Cornerstone Lane in Hampton, Georgia. If that is your residence, and you make bonds, sir, at any point, you are to contact the Clayton County Sheriff's Office, and until such time as this bond is modified, they will escort you there to get any items that you need. Do you understand that? All right, so you have no contact with this person whatsoever until this bond is modified. Do you believe you'll be able to make this bond of $2,500?
I can make some of them.
Okay. Now, as far as an attorney, do you believe, excuse me, do you want a court-appointed attorney or are you gonna hire your own?
I hire mine.
All right. So as far as this goes, your bond and everything else, do you have any questions of me, sir?
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
yes.
other form of
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that one more time.
it's a forms of payment for the bond?
Well, I talked about that earlier. So you can do it in cash if you have a relative who has it in cash. You can do it by commercial, which means you pay a fee to the bonding company, and they pay a percentage, and then you pay a percentage of the bond, usually about 10, 15%. And you pay the fee to the bonding company, or someone can put their property up for you. So you got a couple options when the time comes. Okay. Now, finally, because you're charged with a misdemeanor, you have the option to either waive your preliminary hearing date or to move forward and I'll assign you a court date for your preliminary hearing. Which would you prefer?
Waive it.
All right. So should you make bond, sir, like I've told the individuals before you, your next court date will go out to the last known address that we have here on file for you in the sheriff's office. If you don't make bond, then of course, that will, your next court date for your arraignment will be assigned to you and you'll be transported up there. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about any of that, sir? All right, thank you, sir. You have a good day. Next up, I have Mr. Dylan Wolf.
Yes, sir.
All right, good morning, Mr. Wolf. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well, sir. You are charged with one count of DUI less safe and one count of improper passing. Your bond is in the amount of a total of $3,000. Do you understand that, sir?
Is that both of them combined?
Combined, yes, sir. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
If I can make a phone call, yes, you can.
All right. Do you want the court to hire a attorney for you, or are you going to get your own?
We'll start with public defender.
Okay. Based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you an attorney. Now, because you're charged with only misdemeanors, you have the right to either waive your preliminary hearing, or I can set you a preliminary hearing court date. Which would you prefer?
Preliminary hearing court date.
All right. So your next court date, sir, is going to be January 17th, 2023. Do you have any questions about anything, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, I have Mr. Latravion Wright. Are you Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Wright, you're charged with 1 count of loitering and prowling, 1 count of false statements, and then finally 1 count of false name. Your bond, sir, is in the total amount of $3,000. You have a special condition, and that is to stay away from this address here where this is alleged to have happened, and that's at 3384 Mount Zion Road in Stockbridge, Georgia. Specifically at the apartment complex, I believe it's called the Retreat Apartments. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Now, do you have any questions about that?
No, sir.
All right. So you understand that if you are found to be at that address, while this is still here as a part of your bond, you can be arrested again. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Okay. As far as an attorney, do you want, sir, a court-appointed attorney, or do you want to try to hire your own?
Court appointed.
Okay. And about how much do you earn per month, sir?
2200.
Okay. Do you have any children? Do you own or rent?
Right.
Okay. Do you live by yourself or with anyone else?
Myself.
Okay. So you're not married? Huh?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead, Mr. Wright, and appoint you an attorney. Finally, as to your bond, as to your preliminary hearing, you have the right to either waive that preliminary hearing, or I will set a preliminary hearing court date for you. Which would you prefer?
You say it.
I'm sorry?
Say
Waive it? Set it. Okay. So your next court date is going to be January 17th, 2023. And that's going to be, of course, at the Clayton County Courthouse. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you. Now I have Mr. Robert Young. Are you Mr. Young?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Good morning, sir. You are charged with 1 count of battery. Your bond, sir, is $2,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond, sir?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Now, you have a special condition as a part of your bond. That's to stay away from the alleged victim here, Mr. Dave Locker. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then lastly, do you want to hire your own attorney, or do you want the court to consider you for court appointment?
Your Honor, I'd like you to appoint me an attorney if you can.
Okay. So I see here it says that you do have a job. How much do you make per month?
I'm a barber, Your Honor. It varies. I put the closest that I could. I'd say maybe a couple thousand. I mean, about $500-600 a week.
All right. Do you have any children, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do they live with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have 3 children to live with me.
Are you married or single?
Shacking.
Okay.
Married. Yeah, shacking.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you an attorney, sir. Then lastly, you have, because you're charged with a misdemeanor, the right to either waive your preliminary hearing, or I can set you a court date for that preliminary hearing. What would you like to do?
I'd like you to set me a court date, Your Honor. I don't want to waive it.
So you don't want to waive it, correct? All right. So that next court date is going to be January 17th of 2023. Do you have any questions about anything, sir?
No, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
do you want the one that needs a translator first, or do you want the two fugitives?
I was going to do the two fugitives first, if that's okay.
Okay. Y'all come on. Do you want to speak to them together or one at a time?
We can do them one at a time. That should be, is it Mr. Tucker is who I have.
And Colbert.
And Colbert, yes.
Colbert?
Yeah, we can do Mr. Colbert first. And actually, I'm sorry, deputies. If we could actually both have them up here first so they can both hear what I'm about to say.
Okay.
All right. So, gentlemen, this is what is called, well, this is not your extradition hearing, but there are a couple things I'm going to go over with you individually, and I just kind of want you all to hear this first part together. The reason that you all, I'm sure you know by now, have been arrested is that each of you have a warrant that's been issued for your arrest out of state. So you don't have pending charges here in Clayton County. You've been brought here to court today because, again, you have charges pending, whether it's state of Florida, New York, what have you. And then, again, that warrant was put out and it was noted nationally so that, of course, once you were pulled over in some fashion or form, it was identified, you were identified and then placed into custody. Now, in accordance with the laws here in the state of Georgia, you have to be brought before a judge for an explanation of this. Now, each of you has the right to contest the legality of this warrant in all extradition proceedings. Or you can waive your right to an extradition proceeding and voluntarily be returned to the state requesting your detention. So what that means is, gentlemen, there are two, you're gonna each have one option, or two options, excuse me. Option number one will be, you wanna go ahead and you want to be taken back to whatever state has an arrest warrant out for you. Option number two will be, I don't want to go back and I'd rather actually fight this warrant and any extradition proceedings. Should you choose option number two, which is you want to fight the warrant and any extradition proceedings, I'll be honest with you, gentlemen, I can't tell you when that next court date's going to be. It could be a while because there is a process by which the officer's got to be notified. He then has to be given opportunity to come down here and or with an attorney himself. And then at which time that hearing will be scheduled. And then you'll have an opportunity to present evidence yourself as to why the proceedings shouldn't move forward. Okay. In the alternative, again, you do have the right to waive that hearing and move forward with your being taken back to whatever state this arrest warrant is outstanding in. Now, before either of you inform me of whether or not you wish to waive extradition, a couple other things I need to explain to you. You do have the right to be represented by an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you. If you desire to contest the legality of this extradition proceeding, then you must file or have filed on your behalf what is called a writ of habeas corpus. You will be allowed a reasonable amount of time to file such a writ. So again, these are just some things that have to happen if you wanted to fight the right to or the requirement to go back to whatever state your arrest warrant is outstanding. You may file a writ of habeas corpus to contest this extradition. The writ of habeas can only contest a few things. Those things, as I'm going to tell you, are one, whether extradition documents are in order on their face, whether you are charged with a crime in the demanding state, whether you are the person named in request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive. So again, sir or gentlemen, if you decide that you want to go ahead and you say, hey, I do want to fight this judge, I'm not ready to go back to whatever state you're at, the only argument that you have is that whether extradition documents are in order, whether you are charged with a crime in the demanding state, whether you are the person named in request for extradition, and whether you are in fact a fugitive. You cannot, at this hearing, contest the issue of your guilt or innocence. That's for when you do eventually go back, if you do. Now, you are each entitled to the advice of counsel in deciding whether to contest or waive, if you so desire. If you decide to waive these hearings, then again, the state that you are supposed to go back to will come in and get in contact with Clayton County. And if you are not picked up within, usually it's about 30 days, you will be released. So you at least got a 30-day wait. If you contest extradition and the state's unable to expedite you within 30 days, you may be committed to the county for an additional 60. So again, I'm just getting more specific with you. So just so you understand, 2 options. Option 1, I want to contest. You got up to 90 days to wait for that hearing. It could be quicker, it could be longer before you have it. If you say, nope, send me back, that may happen a lot quicker. It's just going to get in touch with whomever needs to come get you from that state. If they don't come get you within 30 days, then you may be released, okay? So now I'm going to speak to you first, Mr. Culver. Now, again, Mr. Culver, understanding you have options 1 and 2. Option 1, to contest, we'll have that hearing, try to get it done within 90 days. Or if you don't want to contest, that means you want to waive, and then you will be sent back to whatever state it was that has this outstanding warrant. Which would you prefer, sir?
You can send me back to the state.
All right. All right, sir. So what's going to happen is I'm going to send some documents over there that I've already signed. It's going to be 6 copies, and they're going to have you sign those as well, okay? Did you hear that, Mr. Culver?
Yes, I heard it.
All right. Do you have any questions about anything?
No. Well,
All right. Good luck to you. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Just my charges.
I won't know that, sir. That information is not provided to me. I only know that you have the outstanding charges.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. And Mr. Tucker. All right. So, Mr. Tucker, again, you have that same option. Option 1 would be to waive the hearing. Option 2 would be you want to fight it. If you waive it, they've got 30 days to come get you. If you don't want to waive it, you may be here for up to 90 before that hearing happens. Which would you prefer, sir?
You could extradite me.
All right. So as I told Mr. Culver, I've got about 6 pieces of paper that I've signed. I'm going to send those over to the jail here shortly. And they're going to have you sign that information as well. And then once they do that, sir, that process will get started for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions I can answer for you?
Maybe not, but I'm gonna ask, with this trial, do you know if I will be allowed any like exceptional excuses? Like, i.e. death in the family or anything like that?
When you do actually have it? No, sir, I can't answer that for you.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Deputy.
Hey, Your Honor, we have the paperwork for him.
Okay, oh, you do have, okay, great. You guys will give me like 2 minutes and I'll be ready to go and we can call that language line.
You said 10?
2.
Okay.
I believe this is Mr. Fleischner.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna give them a call here now.
language line solution. Please enter your 6-digit client ID. For Spanish, press 1. For other, press 2. Please speak the name of the desired language.
German.
I understood German. If you should correct, say yes or press 1.
And only. Give me 1 second. I'll ask to make sure. Hi, Deputy.
No,
To your knowledge, the only language he speaks is German. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm speaking with them now.
which is GRKW.
So I'm with the Clayton County Magistrate Court, who is going to need an interpreter, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And his name is Mr. Herbert Fleissner.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself to him if you'd like to, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Whenever you're ready, Madam Interpreter.
Okay, ja, schönen guten Tag. Ich bin Ihr deutscher Dolmetscher und wir können beginnen.
Yeah, hello.
All right. Good afternoon, Mr. Fleissner. I am the judge here in Magistrate Court, and it is my job to advise you what you have been charged with, okay?
Ja, guten Tag, Herr Fleißner. Ich bin der Richter jetzt hier für das Magistrate Gerichtsabteilung und ich möchte Ihnen mitteilen, für was Sie angeklagt werden heute.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear that, Mr. Fleissner?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Fleissner, you are charged with 1 count of public drunk.
Ja, Herr Fleißner, Sie sind dann angeklagt mit einem Fall für, dass Sie betrunken waren.
Ja.
Your bond amount is going to be $1,000.
Ihr Bindungsbetrag zur Haltung ist $1.000.
Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond?
Denken Sie, dass
Ja.
Sie dann diesen Bindungsbetrag zahlen können?
Ja.
Ja.
Okay. Now, whether you make bond or not, Mr. Fleissner, do you want the court to hire you attorney or do you want to hire your own?
Also ob Sie das denn, diese Bindung bezahlen können oder nicht, möchten Sie, dass sich Ihnen einen Anwalt stellt oder möchten Sie sich einen eigenen Anwalt nehmen?
Nein, ich bezahle das.
I pay for it.
Okay. Do you want to pay for your own attorney or do you want us to give you one from the court?
Möchten Sie Ihren eigenen Anwalt bezahlen oder möchten Sie, dass der gestellt wird vom Gericht?
Ich weiß, wo ist denn da der Unterschied? Ich weiß nicht so genau.
What is the difference, please?
If you hire your own, you will have to pay for it. If you want us to give you one, it is free of charge. However, if you make more than $2,000 a month, you do not qualify for a free one.
Also wenn Sie wenn Sie den Anwalt selber nehmen, müssen Sie den selber bezahlen. Sollten Sie aber einen Anwalt benötigen, wir können Ihnen auch einen stellen, umsonst, damit Sie nichts zahlen müssen für den Anwalt, aber Sie müssen dürfen nicht mehr Einkommen haben als $2.000 im Monat.
Ja.
So what would you like to do? Would you like to hire your own or would you like us to appoint you one?
Möchten Sie, dass wir Ihnen einen stellen oder möchten Sie selber einen Anwalt nehmen?
Einen stellen, bitte.
Bitte?
Einen stellen vom Gericht.
Yeah, I want to get an attorney appointed from the judge.
Okay.
From the court.
How much do you make per month, sir?
Was machen Sie monatlich als Einkommen?
4.000.
Wie viel?
4.000 circa.
4.000 haben Sie gesagt?
Ja.
4,000.
Okay. Sir, unfortunately, you do not qualify, and so you're going to have to hire your own attorney.
Tut mir leid, also Sie tun sich für einen Anwalt umsonst nicht qualifizieren, dann müssen Sie sich selber einholen.
Ja, okay.
Okay. Now, lastly, sir, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, I can do one of two things for you. I can give you a preliminary hearing date, or I can waive that hearing. If you want me to give you a court date, that means you'll get a court date in mid-January where you and your attorney will be allowed to hear the evidence they have against you. If you want me to waive that court date, I'll likely be able to get your court date a little faster to the judge and allow you to resolve your case quicker if you want to.
Okay, zwei Möglichkeiten. Sie haben ein kleines Vergehen begangen. Ich kann entweder ein Datum setzen bis Mitte Januar, dass Sie dann einen Anwalt bestimmen können und diese Sache dann vor Gericht lösen können mit dem Anwalt. Oder ich kann das auch erlassen, also dass ich kein Datum setze. Wenn ich das Datum nicht setze, kann es sein, dass das schneller vor einen Richter kommen wird und dass sich Ihre Sache damit angehört werden kann vom Gericht. Was möchten Sie?
Ich weiß es nicht.
Okay. So you have two options. Option one would be have the preliminary hearing, and in which case you and an attorney can hear the evidence against you. Or option two, do not have the hearing, and your case will move a little faster.
Also Sie haben zwei Möglichkeiten. Sie können eine Anhörung haben und dann werden die Beweismittel vorgelegt, die Ihren Fall angeht, oder Sie haben keine Vorgerichtsveranstaltung oder dass Sie vor Gericht erscheinen müssen und eine Anhörung haben und das wird dann eventuell etwas schneller durchgehen.
Ja, okay, okay. Ja, aber heute kann ich nach Hause gehen, oder?
But today I can go home, right?
No, sir, it will not be today. You will have to make bond if you want to go home first.
Ja, also das wird nicht heute sein, auch wenn die Zahlen halt Bindungsgebühren, die an dir veranlasst wurde. Das
Weil ich verstehe Sie ganz schlecht.
Okay, I have to repeat again.
Okay.
I
Now,
don't understand. Oh.
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, ma'am.
Ja, also Sie können nur nach Hause gehen, wenn Sie die Bindungsgebühr heute zahlen. Ansonsten müssen Sie da bleiben. Sie müssen die Bindungsgebühr von $1.000 zahlen, dann können Sie gehen.
Ja, ich bezahle das, ich bezahle das.
Yes, I will pay for that.
Okay. Now, if for some reason you aren't able to pay your bond, do you want to have that preliminary hearing I mentioned, or do you want to waive that hearing and have your court date come a lot quicker?
Also wenn Sie diese Bindung nicht zahlen können, möchten Sie diese Voranhörung haben oder möchten Sie das nicht haben, dass Ihre Sache schneller vor Gericht kommt?
Das brauche ich eigentlich nicht, oder?
Bitte?
Nein.
So no.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, sir, since I know there's a little confusion, I don't want you to lose any of your constitutional rights. I'm going to go ahead and set you a hearing date of January 17th in 2023. If you or a family member or friend can make that $1,000 bond before that date, you will be released and you will get the new court date at your last known address.
Okay, just quickly repeat that one part. So that who has to pay the bond, a family member, and who else?
A family member or friend.
Sorry, sir, I interpreted any clarification.
So a family member or friend.
Oh, friend, okay. Also ich werde dann das Datum für die Voranhörung setzen am 17. Januar 2023, weil ich denke, das ist etwas verwirrend hier. Ich möchte aber nicht, dass Sie Rechte verlieren. Und Sie können dann freigelassen werden heute, wenn ein Familienmitglied oder ein Freund die $1.000 für die Bindungsgebühr bezahlt.
Ja, die $1.000, das kann ich doch selber zahlen, oder?
So $1,000 I can pay myself, right?
Someone will have to bring it up here for you, sir.
Jemand, der muss hierher kommen und das Geld uns vorlegen.
Ja, aber ich bin ja nur alleine hier.
I'm just here by myself.
Okay. Well, then, unfortunately, you may be in until your next court date in January.
Dann unglücklicherweise werden Sie halt bis zum Januar dann hier bleiben, bis zu Ihrem Gerichtstermin.
Okay. So your next court date, sir, will be January 17th, unless someone is able to come pay that bond for you, okay?
Also Ihr Gerichtstermin ist der 17. Januar, außer es kommt jemand her, die Bindungsgebühr für Sie zahlt.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
So here, if they have the money, like a debit card or whatever, they're able to bond themselves.
Oh, y'all
out
do
here.
allow them to do that now? Okay, great. That wasn't before when I was here. So can you please tell him, I do apologize. If he does have access to that money and has a debit card there, I was just informed they will allow them to pay it.
Okay, also wenn Sie eine Bankkarte oder Kreditkarte haben, dann können Sie diese Bindungsgebühr selber bezahlen.
Ja, ja.
All right. If you don't have any other questions though, sir, for me, then I'm gonna let you go, okay?
Wenn Sie keine anderen Fragen mehr an mich haben, dann lasse ich Sie jetzt gehen, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, Madam Interpreter, I believe that's all.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you for choosing us. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right,
All right, Your Honor.
All right, thank you for that. I believe that's everybody.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays to you and see you tomorrow.
All right, yes, sir. See you tomorrow.